So call the December 16th, 2024 meeting of the Vestavia Board of Education to order. The first item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The second item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes for the November 18th, 2024 meeting. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
With your second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Board members, I want to introduce you to very special guests this evening, but no stranger to Vestavia, the state of Alabama, the Jefferson County. Commissioner Mike Bowling is with us today, and he's got a special presentation, but he is certainly a friend of our school system. When he says he cares much about it, I know he does. And he's got a lot of roots here, so I'm really appreciative you being here, Commissioner, tonight. And I'm going to ask Courtney to join me up here because she's going to be most excited about this presentation.
Just a quick word.
Please.
Thanks for being here. Look over here and I see this lawyer. We've been friends since we started practicing. Just makes me feel like I'm home again. But the main thing that I want to thank you, Commissioner Lawyer, is everything y'all do. My daughter went to school here and graduated in 2010, and it was just the best I could ever imagine. My friend that was in the legislature at that time, he told me that letting her go to Southminster for a few years before that, just to be in a faith setting, and that worked well. When she got ready to go to school, there was just no choice. And she just excelled, did well. She's now living and married in Nashville, got a great job. But it all started with what y'all do. Didn't have the school system available when I was there. It was the county system. But I'm here to tell you, like everything else about my city, including the police that I see, the firefighters that we've got, the superintendent, everybody in government. Other cities can say it. I'm convinced this was the best. So I'm not here today to tell you how much money I've drummed up personally for you. It's like $1,200 or $1,300. No, I'm just here to be the delivery person. And the last thing I'm going to do is introduce you to my buddy here, Grant. Grant Buckaloo was on my Burdett. I'm sorry, I'm thinking Mary. He was on my campaign staff, and I'm still living away from politics when I got the commission job. And he's a great addition, and I wanted him to be here too, because he finished here in 2016. Great job.
So each year the Jefferson County Commission, Commissioner Bowling, presents us a check, and it is based on county sales tax revenues that come to all the schools, and that's broken out on an ADM basis. So depending on how many students you have in the district is the value you get. So this is really important for us. We've been receiving for several years. I'll let Courtney read out what we're able to put in the bank today.
Yeah, it's $1,292,344.84.
Okay, so
Yeah,
it's all
I
a
told you.
little bit.
Dr. Freeman, may I say something?
Please.
Mike Bowling, you've been my friend for a long time. I want to say two words to you. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, there are not many people in a professional career that can cover all four bases like in baseball. When I first knew Mike, he was simply an excellent lawyer. And he was superb as the Jefferson County Probate Court judge, and I hated to lose him. But when he got to the Alabama Supreme Court, he was truly outstanding and did an unprecedented job. And now he's our just absolutely wonderful Jefferson County Commissioner. And if you looked up the definition of a public servant that gives himself to others, you'll find the name of Mike Bowling. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you. Any way we can help you on the commission, you let us know. And if it's lawful, we got it.
It's a fool's errand to follow, Pat Boone. Supreme Court's loss with Justice Bowman is the commission's gain.
Really,
So,
really.
Thank you, guys.
I was researching some of his work today.
All right, we'll get him back sometime. He's got some other things probably to share with us. All right. Courtney, financial statement.
Good afternoon, board members. I have provided the November 30th, 2024 financial statements and check register for your review. As of November 30th, 2024, we have collected 5% of our budgeted ad valorem tax revenues compared to the 12.8% we received last year at this date. The main difference in the variance is due to some timing differences of when we received the funds this year versus last year. Our check we just received is an example of that. Last year, we received that in November, and this year it's in December, a little bit later. So hopefully, with our December report, it'll be a little more comparative due to the timing differences. In November, we earned $73,526 in interest income on our investment and treasury sweep. And our total expenditures and transfers out in the general fund as of November 30th were 17.5% of the budget compared to 17.3% last year. All things being equal, we should be at 16.6% of our budget in the first month or the second month of our fiscal year. And we're a little above that due to some annual payments that we have made for insurance, et cetera. Our monthly financial statements and check registers are available for viewing on our website upon board approval, and all bank accounts have been reconciled as of November 30th, 2024.
Thanks, Courtney. And again, that total on interest earned to
Well,
date.
today, last year was about 1.1 million,
Yeah.
so we're in our lower interest earning right now. We're about 150,000 right now.
Just in fiscal year.
Mhm.
Yeah. In calendar years, around 1.3 or so.
Right.
Yeah, really good. Thanks, Courtney. I recommend the board approve the financial statement for November 2024.
You've heard the superintendent's recommendation to approve the financial statements for November 2024. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Do I hear a second? Second. All in favor?
Thank you. Item 6 is consent items, and I recommend the board approve these consent items that are related to a job description change, disposal of property, field trips, and out-of-state and overnight field trips.
You've heard the superintendent's recommendation to approve the identified consent items. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Congratulations, Richie. All right, in business, our first item is technology. I would recommend the board approve technology infrastructure bid in the amount of $964,678.60 for Clear Winds Technologies.
You've heard the superintendent's recommendation to approve a bid on technology infrastructure. Clear Winds Technologies. Do I hear a motion?
Second motion. So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Board members, I would just share with you what this is about. Brendan is with us today, Brendan Lovelady, our Director of Technology, and he's been working on this for several months. And generally speaking, we try to each year make some updates, and we try to do that before calendar end because part of this amount is paid through E-rate, which is a federal funding mechanism. So I'll let you take it from there, what it's about and kind of what the match is.
So every 5 years, we get an allotment from USAC from the FCC to upgrade our core infrastructure for network-related projects. So this is just a continuation of that cycle. So we have received roughly $1 million in funding. We will have to fund 60% of that based on our economical standing. And that's based on USAC's calculations of how they base that funding. But we will continue, upon your approval, we'll continue with that infrastructure refresh of our core infrastructure needs for technology.
And the funding source for this is through appropriations from the legislature, the advancement technology dollars we receive each year. This is a piece of that work. So,
All in favor?
Aye. Thanks, Brendan. Item B, I recommend the board approve the interagency agreement with the city of Vestavia Hills for church management.
You've heard the superintendent's recommendation to approve the interagency agreement with the city of Vestavia Hills for turf management. Do I hear a motion? Do I hear a second?
Second. Board members, in 2019, we had our first interagency agreement on this particular work with the city of Vestavia Hills. And because we have a close partnership with sharing our facilities, this allows us to use a bid that they had in 2023, to use their vendor, who's also we've been using for several years to provide this service. And it's really taking care of our ball fields. The amount you can see on there is about $223,000. But I asked Mr. Boone for an opinion on that, and that opinion's included in your items. But Mr. Boone, if you don't mind, just speak to this, make sure they know the legitimacy of our ability to do this.
Cities and boards of education in Alabama can do only those things that the law allows them to do. This is one of them. Cities can enter into agreements with boards, and boards can enter into agreements with cities. This makes perfect sense. The city uses the board's facilities, the board uses a city facility to remain consistent. It's a real convenience to have the same contractor to maintain all of the facilities of both parties. I recommend it strongly.
We need now to take a vote, so all in favor?
Aye. Item C, I want to update you on the contract for sale of Vestavia Hills Central. You approved the contract about a year ago as a board for this in the amount of $1.25 million. That sale closed earlier this month, and so we are no longer the owner of the Central campus, which is the school and the building above the school, which Impact Counseling is leasing at this point. So everything below that, where the creek is, across to where the fields are in the back, still belongs to the Board of Education and will continue to belong to us. And so we have great use for that. But the sale has been completed. Just want to make sure you were updated on it and see if there are any questions I can answer to that.
Alex, like I say, I appreciate your efforts in getting this sale done. It's not the easiest property to find the right buyer, but we found the right buyer. And I think it will serve our city well, but I appreciate your efforts in getting that done.
Thank you. We do have a buyer that's a great visionary for what's to come, and it will be a really good thing, I believe, for our community. So I'm glad we got it taken care of. Item 8, I recommend the board approve personnel actions as submitted.
You've heard the superintendent's recommendation to approve the personnel actions as submitted. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Do I hear a second? Second. All in favor?
Members, you have in your packet of information the communications audit that Whit McGee led for us in cooperation with the National School Public Relations Association. You've got that information in your packet. Again, we'll make this available on our website for anyone who wants to see it. It has the findings and recommendations. One of those things that came out of that was the importance of emphasizing a feedback loop and making sure that those who help us get information such as this through surveys and focus groups know what we're going to do with it. So at some point in the spring, I'm going to ask Whit to brief you more specifically about that, what our plans are moving forward. But really was good information, and I think you'll find it helpful to you. But one of the things that came out of that, particularly from students, I mean, parents to a degree, but definitely from students, is the board being intentional to stay ahead of misinformation. And I suffice it to say that if you want to learn incorrect information, oftentimes you can find it on social media. I don't really know any way to say that. We want to be the information provider with accurate information about our schools, and that's what our intentions always are. And so our students really said that. They spoke loud and clear about how important that was. And one of the things we've even evolved in the last couple of months is being a little bit quicker to release some information if there may be some safety questions involved. In other words, less is not always more. That helps combat some of the misinformation that can get out there, or rumors or speculations that can occur. This morning, we had the presence of several police officers on this property, the Board of Education property, fairly early in the morning, but around the time that students were going to begin coming to West, and really felt like we needed to provide some information to parents as much as we could give and provide that. So that was a piece that we thought was timely to do, and then we got to follow up with some additional information this morning. But I want to stop at that point because when our police are involved, we like them to carry the information and to prompt us when we need to communicate what. And we have such a good partnership, as you know, with our police, and they do a fantastic job. And asked Chief Ware to be here. He was most very willing to do that. I asked him just to brief you on the matters of today to the extent he can, and just answer any questions you have. Chief, thanks.
Good afternoon, everybody, and Dr. Freeman, thank you for allowing me to be here with you all today. The situation this morning, first of all, was an extremely isolated incident. We were called to the Board of Education facility about a little after 6 a.m. to investigate shattered glass at the front door. What I can tell you is that there's no other similar or comparable damage anywhere on the Highway 31 corridor over the weekend. The damage does appear to have occurred over the weekend, specifically late last night. And the situation is actively being investigated by the VHPD Criminal Investigations Division as we speak, and they are working to exhaust all leads in this matter. Again, it's an active investigation, so I'm very limited in what I can say.
Questions?
Dr. Freeman, Chief Ware, you may jump in on this as well. Obviously, there's, as you indicated, we had some feedback from earlier this fall about what we communicate and when we communicate. And I think it'd be helpful for us Dr. Freeman, to tell us a little bit of what that decision process looks like in terms of what we communicate and then when we communicate. And Chief Ware, I think both of those, the what and when's also oftentimes, if there's a police investigation, the police have some influence on that decision for us as well. But Dr. Freeman, can you first address just kind of the what's and when?
Yeah, good question. Thanks, Scott. The process typically is going to be if there is the need to involve the police in anything that we may see as safety or security. Usually Chief and I are in contact, and that was the case this morning. And fairly early as people were waking up, we were having some conversation. Whit comes into the conversation with us, as does Cinnamon McCulley, who's the public relations person with the city. And what we try to do from the school's perspective is to allow the police to lead, because that's what their wishes are, and that's what we should do, because they kind of take over once they arrive at a place like ours. And so we take leads from and try to give as much information as we can, which can be frustrating because we can't oftentimes say a lot of information. The main thing we try to stress in our communications is if we think there is a threat to safety on our campuses, we're going to react to that. And we always try to acknowledge if we do not think that is the case, and we're taking a lead from police when that's happening. So I think the important thing to remember is we can give advanced communications. It may not be all the details, but it is always surrounded by the notion we're first trying to determine if there's any threat to safety. And that's the acknowledgement we're trying to make sure is put out there. So Chief, anything you want to lay in on that?
What I can say is the situation this morning that we were investigating had no direct impact on any safety for anyone at the time. This was just investigating damage to a piece of a facility, and it is still ongoing, but there was no threat to anyone at any time involving our situation, or the communication would have been handled differently with us and Dr. Freeman.
In cases, every situation we've learned is unique and different. Timing is. The case this morning was, we knew that there would be that parents would begin showing up at West, and that would be an immediate concern. And people saw police and they're just doing their work. At that time, things were safe, but we felt it was important to go ahead and start somewhere. So, hey, I realize it's not an exact science and there are a lot of perspectives and opinions on how to do it, but we deliver as quickly as we can and keep it accurate. and want to be the voice that people will come to and not other things in the periphery that really do not have accurate information. So.
And I can say from seeing some of the communications this morning, as Dr. Freeman said, I think if you poll the room, there might be multiple approaches. But the number one thing is to get accurate information out. And if there is any safety issues, to make sure that parents and students are aware of those. And then obviously we don't want to interfere with any active investigations. We want to cooperate with the police on that. And, my sense is if there were ever a time, and this was not the case today, but if there was ever a time where the investigation and getting safety information out were to be in conflict, we would err on the side of getting safety information out. Luckily today, that was not the issue, so we wanted to make sure everybody knew that everything was safe, there were no safety concerns, but then not provide so much information and it might compromise the investigation. We obviously appreciate the cooperation we have with the police and the relationship we have there, so thank you all for what you're doing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is public comment. Do we have anybody here for public comment? I will not read our statement on that. That concludes our agenda. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? We're adjourned.